The moment arrives without warning. After weeks or months of silence, of distance, of deliberate separation, there they are. The avoidant stands before someone they once pushed away, and in that instant, their entire psychological defense system activates. What happens in those first few seconds is not random, but rather a carefully orchestrated performance designed to protect them from the very vulnerability that the reunion threatens to expose. Understanding this immediate reaction reveals everything about how deeply their patterns run and how little they have processed in the time apart. The immediate emotional lockdown. The first thing the avoidant does is retreat inward, even while appearing outwardly present. Their body language shifts into protective mode, arms crossed, eye contact minimal, posture closed. This is not conscious choreography but automatic defense. The no contact period did not teach them how to be open. It reinforced their belief that distance equals safety. When faced with the person they pushed away, every instinct screams that proximity is danger. They become polite strangers, speaking in pleasantries that create emotional distance even as physical distance closes. The warmth that might have existed before is replaced with cordial detachment, a performance of normalcy that actually signals profound discomfort. They ask surface questions while deflecting anything that requires genuine disclosure. They create conversational barriers that prevent the interaction from deepening into anything that resembles emotional authenticity. This lockdown is their way of controlling the encounter, of ensuring that the reunion does not trigger the intimacy they fled from in the first place. Before we continue, subscribe if you want content that explains the psychology behind these behaviors, instead of just telling you what to do. Understanding why helps you protect your peace. The performance of indifference. What the avoidant does next is perhaps more revealing. They demonstrate how completely unaffected they are by the separation. This performance is critical to their self-image and their relational strategy. They speak about their time apart with casual ease, highlighting their independence, their productivity, their absolute lack of struggle. They are fine. Better than fine. Thriving, even. This is not necessarily dishonest, but rather a selective presentation that omits any vulnerability, any difficulty, any moment where they might have questioned their decision to create distance. The message is clear. They did not need what was offered. They did not miss what was lost. They did not suffer in the absence. This indifference serves multiple functions simultaneously. It protects their ego by demonstrating they were right to leave. It maintains their position of power by showing they were less affected than the other person. And most importantly, it creates insurance against future hurt by establishing that they are capable of surviving without connection. The subtle test for residual investment. Beneath the performance of indifference, the avoidant is conducting a covert assessment. They watch for signs of how much the other person still cares, how much emotional investment remains, how available that person might be if the avoidant ever decided they wanted back in. This is not malicious calculation but rather unconscious pattern recognition. They notice tone of voice, body language, eagerness in responses. They drop small pieces of information to see how they are received. Whether there is still curiosity, still concern, still that familiar desire to maintain connection. The avoidant is checking whether the dynamic they once controlled is still accessible to them. If they detect continued investment, it provides a sense of security. The door is not permanently closed, the option remains available, their desirability is confirmed. If they detect genuine indifference or disinterest in return, it triggers something more complex, a mixture of relief and destabilization. Relief because it confirms their narrative that distance was correct. Destabilization because it challenges their assumption that they would always be wanted despite their unavailability. The rapid exit strategy. Perhaps most predictably, the avoidant ensures the encounter remains brief. They have somewhere to be, something urgent demanding their attention, a reason to cut the interaction short before it can evolve into anything emotionally substantial. This exit is planned from the moment the reunion begins. They never intended to stay, to reconnect, to allow the encounter to crack open any of the defenses they have maintained. The quickness of their departure is proportional to the threat they feel. If the interaction triggered even a flicker of genuine feeling, if the person they once pushed away still affects them in ways they cannot control, they accelerate their exit. They leave before vulnerability can surface, before the carefully constructed indifference can be exposed as performance, before they have to confront that the no-contact period changed nothing about their fundamental inability to tolerate intimacy. The avoidant walks away from the reunion exactly as they walked away from the relationship, protecting themselves from connection while simultaneously destroying any possibility of it.